What's going on, everyone? It's Chris and welcome back to another video. So if you're new to the channel and if you like entrepreneurship, business, startups, investing, making money, this is what I talk about on my channel. So I started my first company in 2011. I sold it in 2020. So if you like that kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. In this video, as you know from the title and thumbnail, by the way, before we get into it, you hear this? So I apologize. If you've seen other videos, you know that I've shot them in my office, and this is driving me nuts. So I'm just gonna sit back. I think this might work better. So I've shot them in my office, and I just got a condo. So I just got a condo in the fall downtown in Grand Rapids, and I had an extra room, so I was like, well, I'm gonna make that my office, and kind of make a little setup so I could do videos, right? And I got this chair, and it's not working, so I'm gonna need a new chair. But let's get into the video. All right, so selling a business. Again, like I said, since 2011 until 2020, almost a decade, I started a company, built it, and sold it. I'm gonna put a link below that I have a video that I basically talk about selling my first tech startup, my first company. So check that out if you want. But in this video, I wanted to share some advice, to first-time business owner sellers. If you're going to sell your business, right? Some things to consider and some things to think about before you go through this process, because it is a very unknown. It was very unknown for us. We even talked with M&A advisors, people who've actually sold businesses, and I tried to get as much information as I could about it. And that's all you can do, right? So I want to give a little extra piece of information, some more fine, detailed things that will help you out probably. But let's just get into it. So number one, building to sell, right? So when you decide to sell your business, that's not usually the time that it's just, hey, I'm gonna go and sell my business. No, you have to build to sell it. So when you decide, I want to sell my business, that's the moment you realize you're done. For whatever reason, you want to take chips off the table, you want to cash in your equity, you want to do something different, maybe you're burnt out, that's fine, we all get there. But you just have to understand that, hey, you're not going to sell right away, you have to build to sell. Now, what do I mean? Look at your financials, right? Like clean up some bad debt, make margins way better, cut unnecessary costs by any means. I don't mean go fire a bunch of people, obviously, but what I'm talking about is literally make it super profitable, because that's how you're gonna get your best ROI when you sell it. And also, if you're buying a company, don't you want a super profitable company, right, that has really good margins, so you could decide where to invest and put capital and where to spend more money, right? It just makes sense. So when you, number one, again, build to sell. So when you decide, just understand this is going to be a process. Now, what I would recommend is possibly 12 to 24 months when you decide. Yeah, it's going to be 1 to 2 years, but guess what? You have to do that. Unless, you're just completely out. And again, this is all relative information, but again, build to sell, right? Really look at that. We didn't do that. We didn't build to sell. Our thing was basically, we just literally went through this construction of our brand new office, massive renovation, right? It was a $100,000 renovation, and we had debt, right? We had a construction loan, and we didn't build to sell, so that hurt us. Which is gonna take me to step number 2, is clean up all of debt, right? Clean up as much debt as you possibly can. Because how a business valuation is gonna happen basically takes your equities minus your liabilities, right? Like, let's say, for example, we had a construction loan for $100,000, right? It was between 70 to 100. Now, what you do for business valuations is you take your assets, you minus your liabilities, you come up with a number, then they have a multiplier based on your industry that's multiplied based off that number. That's usually how you get your valuation and the purchase price of your business. Now, this is where this really hurt us. Now, let's take round numbers, because round numbers are easy to do mental math with. I'm no mathematician, no math whiz, so let's say $1 million, right, that you have, and let's say that's what you come up with your assets are $1 million, right? Let's say you have liabilities out there, let's say a $100,000 liability. what's gonna happen is you take that million, you minus, right, that 100,000, you come up with what, 900,000. Let's say your multiplier is a 5, right? What's 5 times 9? 45. So $4.5 million, let's say that's your purchase price, right? What just happened there? That $100,000 loan just lost you $500,000 because you had to minus that and then take that number and get the multiplier. Do you see where those big swings can come from? So the thing is, you want to clear up debt, right? Like your assets minus your liabilities, clear up those liabilities. And again, that's to point number 1, build to sell. So if you're looking that you want to sell it, you have to clean up those liabilities so then you get the best possible number with your multiplier to get the highest value. Also, what's going to happen is by building to sell and cleaning up those margins is going to increase your assets, right? Your money, your revenue. It's going to increase your assets, which is really good, again, for that end number in the valuation. So those are like 2 big things that you really, really, really have to understand when you're going to sell the company. And again, that's best for the buyer. They want high margins, they want profitability, they don't want liabilities. It just makes sense. But again, if you're a first-time seller, you're probably not thinking about it. I didn't think about it, and I thought I was kind of smart in business. It just is what it is. You have to go through it to gain experience. And number 3, this one's kind of specific, I guess, to my case, but I'm just throwing it out there so you know, is number 3, we signed in our agreement that essentially we were a service-based company. We had clients, we did services for them, and then we rendered those services to get paid money. Basically what happened was the buyers, who, again, you can watch the video, there were 2 employees, they said, hey, we want you, the previous owners, us selling, we want you guys to essentially have liability for up to 1 year, 12 months. If anybody comes after this company that you're selling, you guys have liability, right? For me, it didn't make sense because I was kind of like, well, wait a minute. Basically you guys were the employees buying the company, and you guys had all client interactions for a very long time. Like at this point, before I sold it, I really wasn't dealing with clients. I didn't even know half of the clients that came in to the business. But again, I've never been sued before. I never had a lawsuit. So I'm thinking, okay, fine. If this is what it's gonna take to get this deal from here to push it across, the finish line, let's do it. Lo and behold, little to my knowledge, we had a very upset client who actually did sue us. 6 months after we sold, I got served papers to my new company. I got served. First time ever getting served and, dealing with this lawsuit. So again, I wouldn't do that. Even if you negotiate and say, hey, we'll take a little less on the purchase price, do that. They should take full liability. It just doesn't make sense looking back on it now. You're buying a business, you take on the risks. It just is what it is, right? But now in hindsight, I see what happened. They probably had a very disgruntled client, and they kind of had this assumption that they might sue the company they're about to buy, but they said it should be on us. I don't know. I don't really agree with that strategy. So I would just say if that's in it, that's in your paper, don't sign it. Negotiate something else. And those are the 3 tips. Those are the 3 things. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Another thing, last bonus thing is it's going to be a longer process than you think. I promise you. And just have a little fun with it. It's going to be pretty stressful at times. You're going to think it's done, then it's not, then it's done, then it's not. Then you got to do this and this. It requires a lot of work. So just try to have fun with it and understand, going into it, you better have cleaned up a lot off of your plate as far as busy work and doing stuff, because it's going to take a lot of your focus and attention. So I hope that helped. You're selling the first business. Watch this, share this with somebody who's about to sell a business. There's many, many, many more things that went into it. If you have questions, drop them below. I'd be happy to talk with anybody who's curious about what I went through. And it's on to the next one. We'll see. I got a couple other startups that I'm working on right now. I'll put them in the links below. And just been starting these for the past couple years after I sold. And we'll see what happens next. So I'm gonna be documenting this and sharing some updates and some business talk with you guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you in another video.